This is an ambitious goal, but I believe the things we're announcing today will put us in good shape moving towards that goal.
Breaking news now at 6. Today, Governor Jay Inslee announced a goal to get to 45,000 COVID-19 vaccinations every day in Washington state. In order to move in that direction, Governor Inslee announced effective today, Washington is moving to phase 1B of vaccinations. Effective immediately, anyone 65 years old and above is eligible to receive a COVID-19 vaccine, and people 50 years old and above who live in multi-generational households will be also eligible for the vaccine. Good evening. It's good to have you here with us. I'm Tim Pham. Mark and Whitney are off tonight. Let's get right to that breaking news now. The biggest news for our area, Spokane will be a mass vaccination site. But what does that actually entail and what does it mean? Our Casey Decker is live in the newsroom with the latest. Casey?
Well, Tim, I'm sure it's something a lot of people have been wondering for a while now. Why would I need to go to a pharmacy or a hospital to get a vaccine? Why not just have a big centralized vaccination site? Well, as you just mentioned, we're about to have several throughout the state.
We are now moving from a limited number of Washingtonians to a rather broad scale where mass vaccinations are now possible, called for, and are going to be implemented.
So here's what we know about those sites. One, of course, we are getting one here in Spokane. It'll be at the arena. The governor said it will open sometime next week and it will be run primarily by the National Guard. In terms of how many shots will be given there, well, we don't know that yet. We also don't know exactly what the protocols will be in terms of verifying that the people who come to the arena are actually eligible. But we do have new info on who will be eligible. That was the other big announcement today. As of today, we are moving into phase 1B. Now, phase 1A was healthcare workers and people in long-term care facilities. This phase is divided up into 4 sub-tiers. Right now, we're just focused on that first tier you see highlighted there. Now, that's anyone above the age of 65. That was lowered from what was going to be the age of 70, and that was in order to cover a greater number of vulnerable people. Now, there's one other group of people who are now eligible if you're over 50 and you live in a multi-generational household. You can see here on the screen all the other folks who are also included in phase 1B, mostly those working or living in congregate settings. They're still not quite eligible yet. But another announcement from the governor today, once we've vaccinated at least half of that first tier, then we can start to move on to the latter ones. Now, we won't have to wait this time now for that first tier to be 100% covered. Okay, another big theme of this announcement, increasing speed and urgency. More than half of the vaccines that the state has been allocated have not been administered yet. Now, obviously that's not ideal. So that speed is increasing, but to get shots into arms faster, the state is doing a few new things. For one, like you heard earlier, increasing its goal. Second, requiring providers who get vaccines to use them within a week. Third, creating a vaccine command center. And 4, involving private companies and finding ways for them to help. So certainly some ambitious goals announced today by Governor Inslee. The big takeaways, though, we are advancing in terms of those phases, and soon Spokane will see a mass vaccination site at the arena. Tim?
Casey Decker with our vaccine team. Thanks so much. Washington state has rolled out a more robust version of an online tool that determines eligibility for the COVID-19 vaccine. The survey now asks questions related to phase 1B. Again, that's mostly dealing with seniors and people in high-risk settings. People can check boxes to indicate if they have cancer, diabetes, a heart condition, or a weakened immune system, or if they're an essential worker like an educator, grocery store employee, or public transit worker. If you are eligible to receive the vaccine, you can enter your name and contact information to receive a confirmation message to show a vaccine provider to demonstrate eligibility. If you are not eligible, you can still enter your contact info to be alerted when it's your turn. There have been issues reported with the Phase Finder tool today. Many of you reached out to us. We recommend refreshing your browser and trying again later. Well, new at 6, the Spokane Regional Health District released a statement in response to Governor Jay Inslee selecting Spokane as a mass COVID-19 vaccination site. Now, the statement said in part, mass vaccination planning is already underway through a collaborative work group of healthcare providers and the health district. The state's efforts will accelerate our ability to get more people vaccinated faster. Now, if you want more details about Washington's vaccine rollout plan, you can text the word vaccine to 509-448-2000 and we'll send you a link to everything we know. By the numbers now, 129 new COVID-19 cases have been reported today in Spokane County. We have now had more than 31,000 cases since the start of the pandemic, and 2 new deaths were reported. Well, today, households throughout the inland Northwest are still without power. This is a result of last Wednesday's deadly windstorm that tore through Spokane in North Idaho. Today, Avista says 96% of their customers' power has been restored. The remaining customers without power in Spokane and Coeur d'Alene can expect to have their power restored sometime tonight. Some customers in Kellogg may take a little bit longer, they say, though. Avista says they are fully staffed. More than 460 people are working directly on outage restoration. Most of Inland Power, Kootenai Electric, and Vero Water and Power customers' power has already been restored. To weather now, we've had a calm start to the week weather-wise. Today there was plenty of sunshine and temps climbing into the mid to upper 30s. Let's send things over to meteorologist Thomas Patrick, who's live in the Outdoor Weather Center. Thomas, will the sunshine continue?
Coming week here, but it is getting cold tonight. Let me say that first and foremost. In the last 2 hours, the temperature has dropped 4 degrees, and the reason for that is because we don't have the cloud cover anymore. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword. It's great during the day to see the sunshine and not to have the cloud cover, but at night it means it is going to get a bit colder out here. And it's pretty much clear skies across the entire western U.S. thanks to that high pressure anchor just off the coast. So right now slipping down into the low 30s, even 29 right now in Deer Park. So it will get quite cold tonight. I'm thinking mid 20s around Spokane, even colder in some areas to the north. It looks like Republic's going to be the cold spot at 17 degrees. First thing tomorrow morning. But after that, we will recover back into the upper 30s, pretty much identical to what we had today. Maybe a bit more cloud cover for tomorrow, but we will definitely get our fair share of sun breaks over the course of this week. A very calm forecast Monday through Friday, but the weekend might be a little bit different, a little bit colder, and our next and really the first snow chance of the month. And this might finally break that pattern of what has been a very mild January up to this point. So I'm tracking this weather system, my full forecast, in a few moments' time.
All right, Thomas, thanks so much. Well, today is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Dr. King is one of the most influential voices in the American civil rights movement, with marches taking place all across the United States to honor his life and legacy. Now, typically, local activists hold a march through downtown Spokane to honor him, but as our Morgan Trout tells us, this year they had to adapt.
The pandemic may have canceled the annual Unity March, but that just means the day of service is more important now than ever. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "Everybody can be great because anybody can serve." This MLK Day, activists in the Spokane community are taking that message to heart, both figuratively and literally.
Although our day of observance today looks different, I think this is a wonderful alternative.
4 organizations have teamed up to serve hundreds of free hot meals. Spokane's NAACP president, Keantha Duncan, says after the MLK March was canceled due to the pandemic, she knew she needed to help the community in another way.
And if we can take different approaches, different organizations that might not normally partner together and pool our resources, I would like to believe in my heart that Dr. King would be proud of these kinds of partnerships. That's what I believe.
Spokane Quarantine's Rick Clark has been raising money for the community since the coronavirus hit. He connected with Pool's Pub and raised $3,000 for each of the 2 restaurants. With this money, they will be providing to-go sandwich meals for those struggling financially today.
Just to be a part of this is, an honor. But on this day, the special day where we can really help out and give back.
It's just a joyous moment in such a dark time. And so I know Dr. King would be just super proud of Spokane, and I'm so happy to be and honored to be just a small part of it. I'll spend the rest of my days just trying to include everybody in everything fun that we do because it's for everybody. This isn't just for certain people.
In addition to the 3 groups, the regional Girl Scouts are donating 600 boxes of cookies to give out to people waiting in line for food.
We are doing it. Even if it's one step at a time, if it's one organization at a time, if it's one person at a time, we're going to do it. We're going to do it, and we are going to do it together.
The north and south locations of Pools Pubs opened at 4 this evening, and they will go until all 360 meals are served. Reporting in Spokane, Morgan Trout, KREM 2 News.
Love what they're doing for the community. Morgan, thank you. We're just getting started here on the news at 6. Georgia's Senate runoff race 2 weeks ago determined whether or not the Senate would be controlled by Democrats or Republicans. Coming up, we verify whether these senators will be able to have a vote in whether to convict the president. But before we go to break, we leave you with a quote from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.